Says they have declared advertisement for recruitment, but how long will it take to conclude recruitment in an emergency situation where we have 3 nurses working in a general hospital? So I think part of their grouse is the Jackpot syndrome, and they are asking the government to address this. We are slaving away. You want to kill us all? Where 20 are supposed to work, you have 1 person there. You see 2 nurses attending to 200 people. We want action, enough of promises. And other demands of the nurses are correction of wrong notional date on promotional letter issued to its members, adoption and implementation of 25% CONMEST adjustment circular for nurses and midwives working with Oyo State government. And the union is also calling for financial implementation of 2018 to 2022 promotion for nurses and midwives working in Lautech teaching hospitals. Well, it goes
well on. All that you've read and more known to the government, already known to the government, because they have their points, 8-point demands already written to the government. So if the government has said that they have started addressing it, we just hope they address all. And like not in piecemeal, complete one.
And like the union leaders said that much of it does not really demand financial.
So that's why it's perhaps easier to address. So it behoves the government to do the needful. If it requires recruiting more hands, qualified nurses and medical practitioners, and sometimes you must also think up with the pay. Yes, if you don't want them to jackpot again, you have to increase something or incentives that will make them say.
Maybe part of what is delaying the recruitment now is that well, the fact that the minimum wage crisis is also on, and well, while most of us think that the nurses and midwives actually already have jumbo pay, but then there is no way the new minimum wage would not reflect on their own salaries and emoluments too. So perhaps that is why the government is still desiring maybe to at least come to a conclusion on the implications of the new minimum wage.
Their salary or allowances could be higher than yours, Tola. That doesn't mean that it's
not could be.
It's jumbo.
Actually, well, compared to ours, it is jumbo.
Compared to ours, I know. Well, we Oliver Twist demanding for more and wanting a better pay. So it's a collective demand.
And wanting more hands on board in the health institutions. Okay, let's see this one. Protesters storm government house, Kaduna. Demand Sani to invite EFCC over El Rufai probe. Hundreds of protesters under the auspices of Kaduna Citizens Watch for Good Governance on Thursday stormed Kaduna Government House, asking Governor Obasani to invite officials of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) to prosecute the immediate past governor of the state, Nasir El Rufai, over indictment of 423 billion naira. The protesters, who began trekking at 11 a.m. from UTC bus stop to the government house, sang solidarity songs for Governor Obasani, just as they displayed several placards with different inscriptions condemning financial mismanagement, abuse of power, and a growing debt burden for the past 8 years by the El Rufai administration. Now, Seun, these political leaders, governors, I don't know why they consider to credit us with so little intelligence, talking about the ordinary masses now. Now, this wasn't necessary. I'm not defending Mr. El Rufai, and I'm not saying he has not done anything wrong, but to put these people up to what they did, all in a bit to justify the fact that Mr. El Rufai asked questions to answer, I think it's absolutely unnecessary. It's very obvious, and I don't think anyone would willingly, of his own volition, embark on that kind of march. I say it with all sense of responsibility, not in the present-day Nigeria, unless
ideally, when you have grievances or people are not satisfied with the pattern at which someone ruled or someone is ruling.
When the incumbent governor is not satisfied.
I say in ideal situation, in sinner climes, you could have organic movement. You could have a kind of, well, not really a sponsored mobilization or protest. Yes, people could just have this spontaneous reaction and it could lead to protest without being sponsored by any political party or gladiators. They could just be concerned individuals from anywhere. So, and they express their grievances through protest, peaceful one.
Like the food protest.
Yes.
People broke into warehouses and all that.
Those ones are spontaneous. Those ones are not really predetermined or scripted. They just occur on the go. So, like I said, in central climes, you could have protests of such when people are not satisfied. But in the Nigerian context and our experience, is that most of these protests have their political undertone and are sponsored mostly by politicians, or your detractors will just mobilize to give a dog a bad name.
And the Kaduna protesters didn't outrightly or totally face the issues at hand. They were singing Governor Obasani's praises.
And that shows the element of sponsorship or the possibility of them being sponsored. That is obvious anyway.
And don't be surprised by tomorrow if former Governor Rufai supporters also take to the streets.
Yes, they will also do their own counter protests. They sponsor their own too. But in all, is the protest necessary? Maybe so, maybe not. Maybe it's a necessary one. But what would the protest achieve? Perhaps to discredit the former governor in the eyes of the public.
Because the FCC has not said it is not acting on whatever allegations against.
And the FCC will not act on protest or by mere rhetoric that is not documented, that is not articulated, and a correspondence sent to the FCC in terms of petition. It could be anonymous, it could be from a known person, and it could be the state government that will write that petition or invite the EFCC, ideally. So if you have your evidence, why not invite the EFCC? And I wonder why the anti-graft agencies must wait for petition to arrive before they swing to action, especially areas where suspected corruption had occurred. Must you wait for a petition?
Well, I think that's majorly their mode of operation. They act on petitions, and they don't regard petitions that are not signed. They don't act on anonymous.
If it's petitions. Anonymous, they say it's just hearsay. They don't act on it. You see, personally, I feel that as anti-graft agencies, all politicians or public office holders should be on their radar. You watch, you check, you monitor. Even while they have immunity, you have your own discreet way.
That's a damning verdict coming from you on our political class. It means you have just indirectly said that they are all thieves.
No.
And they should be watched.
Potentially.
Yes.
Potentially. Not that all of them, but we could suspect that majority of them or all of them. You see, let's have this generalization. So there's nothing bad in all of them being on your radar. And the one that comes out clean, you give him or her the pass mark. That's good. You are clean. You are different amongst others. But there's nothing bad in you being on their radar, or for all of them to be on the radar of the anti-graft agencies.
So
it's part of the monitoring. It's even part of our own responsibility as the fourth estate of the rep. To keep eye on their activities.
Come to think of it, since Donald Duke, the former governor of Cross River State, since he was given a claim bill of health by the EFCC, and that was some years ago, the EFCC was doing an assessment of governors and other political office holders, and they said he was the only one that was given a clean bill of health. Has any other person made that record since then? That was some years ago now.
I can't recall any after him that has gotten that controversial. That his own was even controversial.
At least he got it.
You see, that forecloses the possibility of someone who had been in power or who is still within the corridors of power having to rub his palm or rub his hands or dip his hand in the treasury or use his cronies and allies to get that. Mi ò gbọ́ rí. That is nonsensical. It's a rape of democracy, and in fact it makes mockery of the judiciary. Perpetual injunction, okay? That means you foreclose the possibility of him or her getting involved in corruption or any other forms of criminality. Clean bill of health, and that forecloses every possibility of digging deep or deeper.
Oh, they must have dug before they.
What was the depth of the digging?
There must have been.
Maybe a surface scratching.
To get a clean bill
is
of
what
health,
they did.
The digging must have been.
I said it was controversial. Tá a bá sàmì ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ta ló lè dúró.
Was it contested by anyone?
Tá a bá sàmì ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ta ló lè dúró.
Well, that's when we are before the Most High.
And you make it appear as if they are saints. Or incorruptible, or as if they are angels. Well, maybe there is a measure or a level of what we call it righteousness or honesty that we could say is the yardstick to say you can get clean bill of health. I don't think any of them will come out completely clean, 100%. Maybe if you get a 70, 80, 90, you can be at least forgiven for the rest, for the 10%, 5, 10, 20% of faults or failures that you've recorded.
And interestingly, they have ways of justifying why they are not clean and why they cannot be clean when you ask them.
So, you now get perpetual injunction, or you are waiting for petition to arrive. Even when people are lamenting, why not scrutinize? Why not monitor the fund? Why not monitor the books on your own independently? And wait, lie low until when the immunity they enjoy elapses, and drag them to the court of competent jurisdiction for diligent prosecution based on the fact that you have your avalanche of evidence, incontrovertible one, to present before the court. Some people are known thieves, Kajiko, Tola, by public perception.
Do you know any?
There are many. By public perception. They will tell you perception is not at all times true. But people have their extrapolation, they have their conclusion based on what they've experienced from these individuals or public servants. But unfortunately, I say again, unfortunately, no court of competent jurisdiction has convicted them or pronounced them guilty or corrupt. That's why they are still walking free. Or some, their case, they will bring it up today, tomorrow is swept under the carpet. When they have issues with the powers that be, that's when they are being reminded of their file that is on the shelf somewhere. Lack of diligent prosecution. They just use that to threaten them, not because they wanted justice. Is that the way to run a country? And to fight corruption? I beg you.
All right, so yesterday we talked about ASU, and today NASU and SANU too are also threatening to shut down the universities. Well, ASU, aside from what was in the papers yesterday, that rally they held at OOU, now Olabisi Onabanjo University, to sensitize members ahead of a possible nationwide strike. Well, here they addressed the press conference yesterday. They have not really set a deadline for the government. NASU and SANU have set a 2-week deadline, but they are saying that the government should address lingering issues or face fresh strike. ASU tells federal government, and their grounds, well, very much the same. Funding for revitalization of Nigerian public universities, that is improved infrastructure, conducive teaching and learning environment, students and staff accommodation, equipping the laboratories and the libraries. Consequently, ASU have remained on the same salary structure since 2009, another part of the grouse. Even with the directive of the Federal Executive Council for removal of ASU from the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System (IPPIS) platform since December 2023, till now, ASU members are still being paid via IPPIS, and that's according to the chairman of the Federal University Gashua branch he spoke in Yobe State. And other issues they listed include university autonomy, the proliferation of public universities, the backlog of earning academic allowances.
They just jam-pack the demands. Some are reasonable, some are unreasonable to me. You just lump everything up.
Nothing here.
You see, Rome wasn't built in a day, Tola. It takes process, it takes sometimes periodic funding before you can actualize some of these things.
Excuse me for sounding like a broken record. Rome can be built in a day when it comes to making your lawmakers comfortable.
That one is not Rome. They are not building Rome.
Oh.
They are building castle and palaces for themselves, not the entire city.
None of these demands look unreasonable to me.
They've been lumping the reasonable and the unreasonable. Some, I'm not saying that they are completely unreasonable, but what I'm just trying to say is that actualization of some of these demands cannot be immediate or total immediately.
I disagree.
You are talking about revitalization of the tertiary institution. Yes, will that be done in a year or two? They will tell you the fund required. We've been seeing interventions from government, from different agencies and international donors. Yes, they also have their own faults as well. The university system, what they generate internally, how have they been spending? Open your books, let's investigate. You are not comfortable with that. Let's give you this platform for payment so that at least we remove the ghost workers, or we identify those who are working in 4 or 5 places and getting paid twice or thrice from government with different identity.
Well, if they
I'm not saying that the structure or the platform that government is also proposing is perfect, but you cannot at all time dictate to your employer. The government is your employer. They must have a say sometimes.
Or even when your employer is killing the system.
We are not saying that the employer should kill the system, but what we are saying is that, you see, there must be give and take, and you must understand that these things will have its own time frame. The government has been lackadaisical. Yes, we understand. They've been sluggish.
We
want acceleration of effort and the intervention.
Talking about time frame, more than enough time frame has been given. These issues have been on for as far back as I can remember, even as far back as the Yar'Adua administration, and still the federal government has done little or nothing.
Is industrial action the solution? Well, you see, sometimes when they require money, they just bring what could at least what they could use to appeal to the sensibility of the general public. When you hear of revitalization of the institution, when you hear about upgrading, you quickly want to agree with them, as if that was the main reason for them going on industrial action. The revitalization they've been calling for.
So the universities are in a terrible state.
I agree. That's why we require intervention, a strong one, aggressive intervention from the federal government and other governments, the state governments too.
There is a big public university here in Ibadan. All the hostels are virtually infested. Virtually the hostels are infested with bed bugs as we speak.
And you want the federal government to come and handle that. The university structure can't do that. They can't do that internally.
Maybe
everything federal.
Maybe they don't have the means.
They don't have the means. Okay. In other universities abroad, ivory towers, your assembly of knowledgeable, individuals, professors. That's why it's called the ivory towers. You must think out of the box. You partner with corporations. You partner with private establishments. Some have ventures. Some have businesses.
Well,
the largely depend on the federal government for funding.
Well,
in Senate claims is not done that way.
That's another vital point you have raised. Where is the private sector? Are they forthcoming on this? The banks, especially, that are always on the lookout for. The banks will never do anything unless they are going to gain something from it. You have a business, you have a big booming business. They approach you, and the purpose is to make sure that they give you loans that you cannot repay, and the overall motive is to take over your assets and whatever you have used your sweat to build, rather than going to the universities and partnering for the future of our children.
The universities, they do series of researches, they come up with innovations on paper, or maybe they just do the prototype and they just keep it in their shelf there, or museum, or whatever is being called. Mass production we don't have. You can't partner with a private establishment.
Is anyone funding the research?
Well, at least the few ones they've done, they've researched to the level that what they have on ground in the archives could transform this nation, transform our economy, transform virtually everything. You have it there. You just have a prototype of it. Nothing is being done on it. You still wait on government. Come and do this, come and do that. Government that is even having its own challenges and always complain of scarce resources.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really? Sure.
When they drag their own out, what is remaining? The ones for their self-aggrandizement. What is left? You know, they are more concerned about themselves more than others and the future of the nation. So when you know the problems, on one hand you will continue to fight or struggle for or demand for your rights from the government. On the other hand, you look for solutions elsewhere. Ideally.
Let's have this commercial break. When we're back, we open the phone lines.
Woke up this morning, a brand new day. Feeling is different, though you are ahead of your game. Fill up with energy, strength and vitality. Get ready to conquer, cause Bonvita is there with you.
Give your child Bonvita. It contains essential vitamins and minerals that support mental and physical vitality. Bonvita. Prepare them to win every day.
Conversation.
All right, we're back, and it's still conversation time to open the phone lines. Our first caller is here. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Tola, Mr. Seun.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Good
morning to you.
John calling from Ilorin.
Good to have you, Mr. John.
Quickly, on Kanu, to Emir in Kanu. Well, to me, I believe it has come to stay. Even though it doesn't stay, we'll continue to change Emir in Kanu. But the truth must be told. The case is pending in court, but we still have to say one or two things. As far as I'm concerned, like I said, even before today, that I don't see the reason why the case should go to Federal High Court. Chief, Obas, Emir, whichever name, they are local government staff. That is the fact. And once a law has been reversed or amended, the Constitution gave the governor power to do and undo. As far as I'm concerned, by the statute of the state law, the former emir has been removed. Even those that were created, other emir that was created, some has taken their faith, some has announced that when they have accepted their faith, because they are staff of local government, and you don't question governors. The only thing they have the right to do is to say compensation. We are your staff. How do you compensate us for removing us? That is, if you decided to go to court on that, you can get justice on that. You remove me as a staff of local government, you did not compensate me. So let's see what happens. Secondly, Mr. Seun, Mr. Tola, I heard you said the man that was killed for blasphemy, that they should have gone to the appropriate authority. Abba, Mr. Tola, you are a student of history now. You have known better than who goes to any authority. Once you cross the red line, you will be killed. This one intentionally want to commit suicide. If not, you are indigent. Aside that, you are a Muslim. And they even ask you to apologize if you refuse. That is due to the hardship of the country. He was looking for a way to commit suicide. And he got one from his people. But we should be guided. And my advice for people, when their children is going to living their comfort zone, they should tell them the issue of one Nigeria is only exist on paper. When our children are going to serve or they are going to school somewhere, we tell them this is the red line. Don't cross it. It's not like the Southwest here. When my daughter had a job with the United Nations, she was to serve in Israel. I sat her down. I said, my daughter, come. Don't follow the religion your late mother taught you, Christianity. Don't just follow it in Israel. It doesn't work that way there. I sat her down. I said, especially the state in which we are posted, Laviv. I said, don't go and be discussing Jesus. And don't carry your Bible one day and going from house to house that you want to preach. Jesus is not that recognized in Israel the way you think. And I even go further to tell him that he's not a godly nation as he used to think in the Bible. Be guided. Be guided.
All right. Thank you.
You will have run into trouble. Good morning. Let's educate our children.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. John.
On this issue, very sensitive one. One must be careful.
It is.
But in all, you don't take laws into your hands. You don't do that. And I think it's wrong for you to defend a God or your God that is superior to you, that has all the powers. If he doesn't want the person who blasphemed to live the next minute, he has the power. So God is not asking for defense from anyone. That also doesn't mean that we should cross the red line or the perceived red line. And if the red line is being crossed, who has the powers either to punish or sanction? Is it the individual or mob action?
Well, sure, I think Mr. John has said it all. Don't cross the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good
to have you.
Yes. It seems that those in authority, the relevant authorities, seems to me that they are not hearing us. Why? Why did I say that? On this program, this platform, people will talk. On the little people will talk. And even about the alone, I said it, we have over 40 radio stations, that private or public radio station. He says they are not hearing us. Why do I say that again? It's because of this debt. Is it not becoming too much? 121 trillion naira or so. Abi? So where are we going? Tomorrow, today we hear another story. Tomorrow we hear another. If they should please listen to the masses. We are not beasts. We are human beings. They should listen to us, for God's sake. This is not the way things should go in this country. Secondly, about what is going on in Kano, judiciary should please they should not compound the issue. Yes, it is becoming, we don't know where this thing will end. 2 Emmas in Kano, it is not good. Judiciary should please they should not be used. God bless you. Enjoy your day.
Yeah, thank you.
Animalistic behavior, intolerance, taking laws into your hands. There is more monopoly of it in any law, an individual or any religion. We should be guided. When there are infractions, the appropriate authorities should deal with the situation. That is the ideal thing. Tola, because we all have our red lines. You have to ask me. And if you cross my red line, does not mean I should behead you. We are still talking about Deborah Samuel and others. Let the law take its course. Let the authorities deal with issues of such. 2 wrongs cannot make a right.
Let's take this last call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tola and Seun.
Good morning, Baba.
Adedado is calling from Okeo.
Good to have you, sir.
Now, in Bauchi, Unisa was linked to death speedily for blasphemy. In Sokoto, in the past, Deborah Samuel was linked and burned to death speedily for blasphemy. Some people's hands had been caught for stealing fowls and goats, and so on and so forth. But many big thieves, great thieves, who have stolen billions and billions of naira, are walking freely, riding freely on our streets. Even some had been made chiefs, some in corridors of power, being celebrated here and there. Oh Lord God of justice, please come to Nigeria speedily and execute justice. Over 400 billion naira allegedly mismanaged by the former governor of Kaduna State.
We have to go, sir. So sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. We appreciate your call.
All right, we have to go, and we'll be back same time tomorrow morning, God willing, on Conversation. My name is Tola Teriba.
I remain yours faithfully, Seun Oyelowo. Spotted Bit is next, and Boluwaji Ogumala is fully loaded, ready to deliver.
Oluyole 98.5 FM.
Good morning, Ibadan. Good morning, Oyo State. Good morning, Nigeria. Time check at 7:32 a.m. And you already know it's sport time right here on Oluyole 90.5 FM. The Trailblazer, the pride of the nation. Of course, now with the best in the West. Boluwaji Ogumala is here once again with all the news that you can use in the beautiful and ever exciting world of sports. Bring you the latest, the hottest, and the juiciest sport news this lovely Friday morning. Yes, it's the Tango this Friday edition of the show. And we're excited to be here this morning to talk about the last round of games in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Yes, games that will determine the last two teams that will go down from the Nigerian Premier Football League, and of course the two teams that will join champions Enugu Rangers on the continent this season. So it's all to play for, especially for Shooting Stars, for Sporting Lagos, as the two teams that will go head to head at 4 p.m. At the Lagos Salami Stadium on Sunday. Well, a winner for Sporting Lagos, and of course, if other results in other centers go their way, they might be safe. Of course, the top order for Sporting Lagos and for Shooting Stars, they'll be looking to win against Sporting Lagos and hope that result in the other two other centers also favor Shooting Stars. Shooting Stars to make the continent. So it's all to play for this weekend. A very interesting weekend ahead of us, and of course, trust us to put you in the mood of a wonderful sporting weekend. Well, also on the show this morning, we'll take a look at the Euros. Yes, the UEFA European Nations Cup of Nations. Yes, currently going on in Germany. Number of interesting results we saw yesterday. 2 draws and a win. Of course, the win going the way of Spain, with Spain making it to the round of 16 yesterday. And the Copa America kicked off in the early hours of today, 1 a.m. We witnessed the first game of this year's Copa America, holding in United States of America. Yes, it was Argentina who defeated Canada in the early hours of today, 2-0. So the sleepless night started. Yes, Copa America, because of a time difference, some of us have to stay up all night to enjoy the best of Copa America. But trust us, trust Copa America to serve you nothing but excitement and quality football, wonderful goals as well. So at the end of the day, it's worth it staying up all night. Well, let's kickstart from the MPFL this morning. where Beyond Limit Football Club have been rewarded with 22 million naira for gaining promotion to the Nigerian Premier Football League. The chairman of the club, Honorable Kunle Shoname, made the donation during a ceremony held to celebrate the NNL club champions in Ikene yesterday. The players were rewarded with 10 million naira, while the